level.
Look at the wrinkles. Oh my God, I'm getting old. I'm 65.
Way to go.
I'm going to be 66.
Way to go.
Really quick. I know. It's like I'm still moving. In fact,
you look great.
Oh, thanks.
You look great.
Yeah, I'm still working. I work more now than when I was younger.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really expanded, though, with the book.
Man, I want to talk about all of this. I'm so excited. Oh, God, I love this stuff.
You're going to love the book. Have you read the book? Did they send you the...
No, they didn't.
I have one in my car.
I would love to read it. Can I listen to it? Can I?
You can.
Okay, great. I'll buy it.
It's
I'll
so
support
good.
you and buy it and listen to it.
It's really good.
Jesse, yeah, because we were talking about astral projecting, and this is a whole thing that I've been doing, but I've been sort of just doing it on my own. I haven't had like the Harry Potter ministry teaching me, just sort of like applying any lessons that I've learned along the way, of just like Joe Dispenza or things like that.
You have an older woman by you too, just so you know. She might be mother or grandmother. She's older, and she lived a long life is what I'm feeling. Like she was older.
Yeah.
Very strong energy. I'm going to try to get her name for you.
Oh, please.
That's my job.
No, keep going. This is tracking. Are we recording this right now? We are. Okay, continue. Hold on. What are you getting?
Older woman, organs shut down. So there was she just kind of died from age. I think age had a part to do with it, but it feels like she had some kind of an illness in there that was not working in her favor. Very nice, very attached to you. Feels like maybe a grandmother or mother. I think grandmother. Maybe not.
Well, everyone in my family's dead, so there you go.
Maybe not. This could be mother.
Yeah. Well, when you said strong energy, I was like, my mom
very much likes to be right.
That's my mom.
Yeah.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, she died about a year ago.
Oh, yeah. This is recent.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
When you said she's
older.
very strong.
How old was she?
75, but a very young 75.
Okay. Well, 75 is older for me. She wasn't like 30. I didn't feel that age.
Oh, no.
You also have a male around you, though, that actually came to me last night, and he was middle-aged, and he died tragically. I don't know who he is, but he has a B name, I think, or B or D, and he is so amazingly, he came to me and he said, I'm okay. I love her. I love this girl. You're going to talk to her today. He has this like really loving energy, and he was showing me water. Like he kept showing me water out. Like, I don't know if it's ocean. I don't know what it is. Very, very attached to you. Very attached to you. Of course, I think everyone's attached to him because the way he came through is very loving, very warm, very open. But he feels like in the middle, 30s, 40s, I don't know, in the middle.
That was my college best friend, Brent, who had...
A B name.
Yeah, who had...
Well, he woke me up.
Wow, yeah.
Very tragic, though. He died very fast. He was just gone.
Yeah, he committed suicide. He jumped from a bridge, and it was tough. And I think people felt like... He's
such a happy person. It's hard to see it.
And that's so crazy because
he felt a lot of responsibility, very empathic. He felt everything with everyone.
Yeah.
Carried a lot of need to fix people, take care of people.
That's exactly right.
Feels very loved, but he feels like he acted happy. That's how I felt. I didn't know if you knew he committed suicide, so I always hold that back because when people don't know when I say it, it's life destroying. So I'm very careful with it. But I knew it was a B or D name. And it makes sense to me because I didn't know if it was Drew or Dren or Ben, or it felt very
Brent.
So Brent. He wants everyone to know he's okay and that he's happy. He was hiding everything, is what he's telling me. He was very like, I want to say life of the party. He came in my room and woke me, and he was like, hi, big smile.
That is literally Brent.
Hardworking.
This is literally Brent. You're literally describing Brent.
Yeah, very, very, big smile. Very nice smile, actually.
Huge. Yeah.
And he said, you're going to see her tomorrow, and I want you to tell her to tell my family I'm okay. And he's connected to someone, I want to say Joe, but I'm not sure. But I want to stretch that. I think it's someone that possibly could be on the other side with him. He, hold on one second. He says he's with his grandpa Bob, I think.
Oh,
Bob,
okay.
Something like that.
I don't know.
So keep that.
I'm going to have to chat with his mom and find out. Yeah.
And then his dad's still alive. His mom's still alive. I'm obviously, you just said you were going to chat with her. His dad's still alive. His dad's devastated.
Yeah.
Absolutely devastated. His mother is too, but his father is like, I should have known. I could have prevented this. I think they were very close. I think he has a sister or he has a sibling.
Yeah,
I know he has a sibling. And there's a lot of devastation there also, complete confusion. And he's saying that he held it all inside and he had thought about it before. He's not talking about this particular time, but he's telling me he had thought it through before and didn't go through with it, that this was something he was carrying, but he felt like the world was really heavy on his shoulders because he had to show a particular way because everyone thought he was so wonderful.
That's exactly
right. And
right.
Inside he felt emptied, exhausted, drained, trying to fix everybody and make everybody happy.
Yeah.
But that was on him. Nobody wanted that from him. I feel like if he were to go somewhere, everyone would crowd around him. He was funny. He had a really good sense of humor.
So funny.
And there's something about the water. I keep hearing something about the water.
Well, he jumped off a bridge into a river.
It feels like it's more than that. So I don't know if he liked water or what
he was a swimmer.
Okay.
Yeah, he was like on the swim team. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, well, it's something about that because it felt like more than what he's not really reflecting on jumping into the water.
Okay, yeah.
They don't hold on to that.
Yeah. I figured they wouldn't.
In a very safe place. I feel like the name Joe has significance, Joan maybe, and the name Rob or Bob has significance for him. I feel like there are people on the other side, they're with him. So I would ask his family. What he wants them to know is that he's okay and that he's sorry he caused this harm. He knows he caused major harm.
Yeah.
He's like, what the was I thinking?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was something that probably he just was like, I'm just going to go quietly in the night and I just don't want to,
I don't think he thought through how this was going to affect his family and his loved ones. He really didn't.
Oh, yeah.
But he has a lot of friends that were very affected by this, extremely. Yeah. He also lost a friend, he's telling me, and I don't know when that happened, but there was a friend that he lost, and he says he's seen them.
Wow.
And he wants to acknowledge that and say that that was very painful for him. So whoever that was for him was extremely painful for him.
Oh, my God. This is so... I mean, this happened... So hi guys, if you're tuning in, Susan Grau, that's her. Grau. Yeah. She is a medium, psychic who's also had near-death experiences, which is what we're going to get into. But oh my God, no! I mean, this is kind of blowing my mind. I've been around a lot of death in my life, and my mom certainly has had a lot of death, and I think. I mean, this is kind of how I describe being psychic, or because I mean, for me, it's sort of I was very sensitive as a kid and very intuitive. Mm-hmm. But then when I think that I started meditating because I was a very competitive tennis player, and I was sort of recruited by Andy Roddick's coach when I was 12, and so I moved down to Florida. But they. During that time, I had a very religious coach who would say he would talk to God every day, and I was like, my parents were very agnostic and didn't believe in God, or because my mom she called herself a recovering Catholic, so she was just very much against organized religion, and me being somewhat the rebellious contrarian, I was like, what's this God business? So then. Well, actually, there was a boy who I had a crush on when I was 6. And he went to Sunday school. And so I wanted to know what all this God business was. And I went and I was like, this is so boring. I have no idea what we're like, why am I here? And they're like, we went, we did it. And I was like, yeah, I'm not, but ultimately when circling back, when I started meditating for tennis, just to relax the body, sometimes, I would be like, intuitively, I knew I was like, oh, well, maybe I'm going to, now pray or talk to God or whatever that is you do. And there would be these messages. And in that place of like, is this just my own voice? But then it felt like when I would meditate, there would be, it's sort of, you're locked into the universe, or you're like, there's some sort of force that happens. And I remember being like, does anyone know about this? Am I the only one? And I'm like 12. And so I remember chatting with like this like kind of guy that, I was like 16 at the time, but I would like talk to this boy who I also had a crush on. And his mother was, and so we would have these like amazing discussions about God and meditation. And she's like, oh my God, like I thought I was the only one who, and so who would meditate. And so, but it started to, I would meditate and I would listen and I would ask questions. And when I would, speak to God, and then, God would be like, okay, so this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, this is stupid. I'm schizophrenic. And so then I was like, all right, theory of God and whatever this nonsense is. And so I would just, as an experiment, be like, like for instance, there was a perfect example. I was, wanting to go to Duke University and like on a full ride. And that was like my goal. Like if I wasn't going to Stanford or Duke, on a full tennis scholarship, then my life was over, whatever. Like that was what I decided as a kid, whatever. And so, there was like, but in order to do so, I had to get like perfect grades. And so I was like, oh no, I didn't study for this test. And God was like, it's fine, just go to school. I was like, if I miss it, then my grade's also going to fall because I can't miss one more day. And God's like, just go, trust me, everything's going to be fine. I was like, no, it's not. Like, how am I? God's like, you're not going to take the test. And I'm like, that's crazy. So I'm like, I'm just going to go to school just to prove you wrong. So I end up, so I go to school and my teacher is like, suddenly she's in all her years, like several years, she suddenly like called in sick and everyone's like, we're not taking the test. And I was like, oh, and so like these messages would happen to the point where I went away from God for a bit because God was like, hey, stay in school and, don't enter into this relationship. And, and then I was like, I'm going to enter in this relationship. And God's like, damn it, like you're so willful. And like, I like that about you. I feel like that's why he keeps me alive. Because I just am entertaining for him or something, or like literally, or the aliens or whatever it is. I feel like they just keep me alive just for sheer entertainment. And then fast forward to when I moved to Malibu and God was like, you need to move because there's going to be a fire. And I was like, this is crazy. Like a fire, and then that night I hear from God, there's going to be a fire tomorrow morning. And I remember being like, oh my God, the wind's whipping. It's really hot outside, and knowing I'm like, oh my God, it's like, there's going to be a fire. And I'm thinking that's such a crazy idea. Cut to that morning, I'm, walking my dog, Charlie. And
that's my dog's name.
And then lo and behold, there's the fire.
Oh,
and
wow.
So then I knew when it was coming. Mm-hmm. I knew God had warned me to move. I just moved into this house that I was renting. And I was like, this is paradise. Why would I want to move? Why are you making me move? And it's like, this is bad. It's going to end bad. There's something to all of this. Please break this down. How, because like, and then also like I've been able to, like my mom, they'll leave messages. So when my mother died, her message was, I miss being young. And I saw the last thing that she texted my niece, which like from her phone, I was like, being like trying to make sense of life. And my niece was like, she's like, oh my God, you look just like my mom, my older sister. And And she was like, I used to, but not anymore. Like, and it just felt very in line with like, I used to look like that. Like I feel, and you know.
That's how it works. So when they come, they like to give us messages that will make sense to us. So it's so that we can verify their existence. You know, no more than your love dies does their love die. And no more does your wanting to have a connection with them. They want the same thing. They have the same feelings. You know, they want to be connected to you. So they give you messages that make sense. So I just have to ask you one question about your friend. Who is Scott? He's talking
His
about
father.
Scott.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I just got chills.
So
what in the hell is happening?
That's what I'm known for, names. That's what I do. It's the one thing I do well. I don't do numbers. I have to say that. So if somebody wants to
I just got chills.
Okay. So he wants his dad to know that he's okay and that he's sorry. And he is happy and he is safe and he is with his grandmother and his grandfather. And I don't know if I got their names right previously, but
he was taking care of his grandmother. That was his grandmother. He was taking care of. Oh my God. Oh, yeah, that was a doozy. It was a doozy. And he was very angry when he came to me though initially, because sometimes like at least
okay. So let me explain this to you, because I really want to be what we fear we feed, what we feed we perceive, and what we perceive becomes our reality.
But hold on. But the people that I've channeled when things have happened because they don't understand sometimes. So like I've had to walk somebody into the light. So I've only had a few experiences, not like yours, but I knew when my friend's grandmother passed that I was like walking my dog and all of a sudden I hear this like, you know, voice, I'm scared. I'm like, it's okay. Like walk into the light. You're fine. The light's right there. It's fine. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, it's okay. You're going to be okay. Everyone's going to greet you, blah, 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 blah. She walks into the light. I was like, did your grandma just die? Because I just walked her into the light. She's like, she just died 2 hours ago. How does this work?
What you probably experienced is her initial leaving. Because once we are the light. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I want to say that to you. We are the light. Having been there, you don't have to learn how to get to the light. But when you first leave the body, you get disoriented. Some people do. They're disoriented and they need a little help possibly, but you know, spirit will guide them. Ultimately, they won't be, but because you have the ability to hear, they're going to talk to you. They're going to talk to you immediately. So I'll have somebody come to me and say, wake up, I just died. You know, and I'll go, no. You know, I'm going to go pee. I'm going to go do something else.
I'm like, no, I don't. I can't. No. Yeah, I say no.
Go away.
Yeah, 100%. Only if I know them.
Yes, but it happens to me all the time because I see people on the next day that they belong to, and they'll say, "I just died. My name's John. This is what happened." You know,
because they're looking for anyone who can talk, who can be the medium,
right? But they don't know when they get. So they're on their way out. Usually, they don't know that when they get there, they'll be able to talk to me. Still, they don't know that yet. They're not completely on the other side. They're leaving their bodies. They're still attached in some way, but they are the light. They find the light easily. It will be there for them.
My mom went so quick. She was so happy to be there. She's like, bye, bitch. Woo!
Yeah, your mom's powerful.
She's so powerful.
Yeah, she is. And she loves you so much. And she is like, she loves being right. More important than being happy.
Oh my God, this bitch. Hi, Mom. She loves it.
She loves it. And she says, I'm right. You see, I was right. I don't know what she's talking about, but I'll just give that to you. I think it's about your expansion. I think it's about your growth, but I could be wrong. But
no,
that's
continue.
what it feels like. But we'll talk about her as she comes through. Let me just say that. So what you believe and perceive becomes your reality. So if you perceive something as evil and dark, the fear steps in and fear takes over and it becomes evil and dark. Anything does. You know, if I walk in here and I perceive you as evil, I'm going to get fearful of you, aren't I? And I'm going to respond to you with fear. Yeah. And you're going to be somebody to fear to me because that's how I perceive you. Yeah. Right? So
we create our own realities.
Right.
100%.
So how we perceive it is extremely important. So if I feel something evil coming through or I think I feel it, I'll say, you know what? This is bull. This is bullshit. I'm not going to even buy into this because what I perceive will become my reality. So I'm done. And then it goes away. Right? And sometimes it's a loved one. Right. Don't give power to something that doesn't deserve it and hasn't earned it. Yeah. And what ends up happening is it's usually someone's father who is a grump. right? Or someone's father who maybe was abusive, that as he was leaving, he was trying to make amends for that. He was trying to tell me something. But if I don't show people who they were here, if I said to you, your mom's so serene and so peaceful and she's calm, you go, what? What the hell? That's not my mom. So I'm going to tell you who she was here, but who she is there is different because she's no longer in her ego.
I feel that.
Ego is gone.
By the way, she lost her neuroses. She's pure light and joy, but she's still, it's funny because she still is very strong and very right. So she lost all the neuroses of like worrying about everything. And she's like, what I heard is I finally get it. I finally understand, you know, and
she had a lot of fears.
So many fears.
I know, she's telling me. And she's telling me to tell you that she's not fearful anymore. She sees the beginning, the middle, and the end, and she really loves having all that information because she's an information freak. She loves information.
She is?
Yeah.
My sister's going to freak the hell out when she hears all this.
So just, you know, keep that in mind. Who has the L name? Who?
Lynn, my mom.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was Liz. I had to be honest with you. I thought it was Liz.
Oh my God.
So it was Lynn. You know, I'm really honest about it because so names are vibrations. They're not actual names. And I have to figure out what that vibration is. So I could hear the z kind of sound. So it was Lynn. So just so you know, your mom is like all over you. She's all around you. She loves to help you. She loves to be part of your journey. But nothing evil is coming after you. I want to tell you that. I want you to dispel that because what you believe it becomes that reality for you. If there is an opening for evil, you will let it in if you have that thinking.
I've closed the door.
Yeah.
So when I've encountered, and it's in dreams, I think, you know, my dad, he was a child of war. So I think that there's like echoes of that, you know, of...
See, now you're seeing clarity. Your dad's not going to come through evil. He's not going to send any evil.
But I think that there was a door that was opened that he never dealt with. And so I think that my patterns of whatever, like lack or like even, you know, it's like when even, like I can... anytime that there are like ghosts or entities or whatever, I'm like, no, like I've learned how to be really disciplined in, you know, so I'm like, when I've had those dreams of like the Joker energy, I'm like, ever since like I shut the door, I was like, I don't have time for this. Like,
see, I have to feel that stuff because the next day I'm going to be talking to someone most likely that is connected, and I had to be able to tell who they were here. Otherwise, you won't recognize them. So that's how they show us who they are. So somebody might come through, for instance, that has schizophrenia, and I'm going to feel the Joker energy. I'm going to feel that schizophrenia, and they're going to be all over the place. Well, when I talk to their loved one, I say, you know, he acts like he's schizophrenic, and they go, oh, God. Yeah, paranoid schizophrenic. That was him here. Wow. So they're not that way anymore.
No.
But they're going to come through so that you, and when you can read them, which is what you're doing, is you're getting a connection with them. Yeah. They're going to come through that way because you might just run into someone that they wanted you to talk to for them. Yeah. You don't know. And it could be a month from now, but then you go, oh my God, I felt your brother a month ago and he felt like this. Yeah, that was how he was here. But if you let them finish it out, they're going to show you who they are there also.
You know, no, it's really interesting because when Brent had passed away, or my uncle who was killed, murdered in like a robbery gone wrong, immediately when they were trying to, you know, disoriented and everything, there was like my mom, it was so quick and it was so easy and she was so happy. Whereas my friend's grandmother was very scared and very like, I don't know if I want to go. Like my mom was like, oh my God, I'm so happy to be back. I'm seeing my family. Like she was so happy to see everyone. Like that was the feeling that I got of like, she's so good. Yeah. Like she's so good. And then my uncle was really angry of like, I was gone too soon. This wasn't supposed to happen. And I'm so like, it was anger. And then I didn't understand what happened. And I was like, I'm sorry, you died. You were killed.
Was he angry here?
I think like probably repressed anger, maybe. Like, I think, like very sweet, very kind, but went through a divorce and had, some like tough things
to deal with.
And was always just so sweet, but I think maybe underneath it, but I think was like, what happened? Like I was getting my life together and everything was, and so it was more of just like a shouting at me, like not like at me, but more at the situation. And then I was like, it immediately disappeared as soon as I was like, you died. It's okay. Like you went, like things happened. And then it just immediately, the anger like left. And then with Brent, it was like, bah! Like also, and then it was like, went to the other side and everything was fine again. Like, I'm so happy.
Remember too that we combine our emotions with them. We had to be really careful about that.
It's so
you
true.
might also be feeling like he was so young, he was just getting his life together. So we can, when it's our loved ones. So I had 2 brothers and a mother who committed suicide, or my mother died by suicide attempt. She died 5 days later.
Wow.
So, they when they left, I had those feelings. And so when they came to visit me, I was still carrying those feelings. And, quite honestly, I think, they pick up on that. Yeah. So the energy was kind of mixed. So when my mother passed, I just said, I don't want you to come right now because I was angry. And I didn't want to feel anger from her. So we do have a tendency to combine our feelings. What I do know is the minute we cross, literally.
Because they hadn't crossed yet.
Right. The minute we do.
I think that there was a moment, there was a purgatory.
There always is.
So I think.
Well, it's not purgatory. It's a moment of connection to, I've left that physical body. That physical body is purgatory. This is purgatory, okay? I've left that physical body, and now I'm connecting to the other side, and I'm still a little bit confused. So when I passed away, I felt like jello-y, and I didn't feel completely disconnected from my body. I didn't look back and see my body.
How did you?
I was locked in an unplugged freezer in a garage. I was 4.5, almost 5. I was tipping on 5. And so when that happened to me.
Wait, what? So wait, what happened? So were you playing?
I was playing with some boys. I was playing fort, and I wanted to keep playing. They said, if you want to play fort with us, you have to get up and get popsicles. Well, the garage door was closed. We had it open. We weren't supposed to. It was disconnected from our house, and my mom was in the back of the house, so we snuck in. And we opened up the freezer door. It was not plugged in, and my mom was supposed to turn it towards the wall, and she didn't, because she didn't think I could open the garage door, which I couldn't by myself. The boys could.
Yeah.
And I got up in there and I started calling out flavors. What do you want? You want, banana? What do you want? Orange pop. And I was facing inward, and they closed the freezer door. They closed, and at first I thought, we're on a game here. I'm part of this game, and I thought I was safe. Surely they weren't going to leave me in there, right? That was my thinking. And then I heard the thud of the garage door, and I knew I was in really big trouble. In fact, I knew death. I don't know how I knew death, but I knew death. I knew, I didn't use that word, but I knew my body was going to be separated from me. And I started screaming. I was in there anywhere from 20 minutes to 2.5 hours. It's somewhere in between. They don't know. My mom heard your baby's in the freezer, and she didn't go. She didn't listen. So my whole family has this gift, except my father and my other brother. But the rest of my family, my brother, my mother, my sister, and me. And so anyway, I want to say I was pulled from my body, but I was more popped. I didn't look back. I didn't see my body, but I didn't understand. So what I want to say is that I was still thinking I was in my body the whole time. I felt jello-y, like kind of jello-y. I don't know how else to explain it, but I didn't feel like I was disconnected from my body. That's how people feel when they first arrive.
And did you have the life review? Did you have the movie screens also? Or
I didn't have movie screens. So it's like a shower of non-water. It's like a shower of light. And it feels like you're moving. You know what I think about? Those like tubes in sci-fi movies where they get inside the tube and then it turns and there's all this movement going on, and there's do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
That's how I imagine it. That's how it feels to me, is that kind of what I might see in a sci-fi movie.
Wow.
and then I guess you could call them screens because it flashes so fast. I'll be able to tell you.
They say like a life review, like everyone always has the same story.
Almost a 5-year-old doesn't really have a big life review. But there was a little. I had already been trafficked and abused, so I have to tell you that I think I that was something I had to look at. But I didn't understand. I didn't know it was bad. So for those people, so I did.
What?
Yeah, a very difficult journey. I think people think when you come back from an NDE that's near-death experience, that you have an easy life because you have the afterlife and they're all following you and they're with you. And yes, they're there. And yes, some things I could get through easier, but I did not have an easy life. I had a very, very painful journey, very painful. And yet, here I am. And I smile and I laugh and I'm happy. And that's the difference maybe, is that I took those things and I learned from them. And I'm not always, poppy and joyful. Sometimes I'm down and I think, God, I really went through a lot in my little years, of life. But I just remember being at the end of the bottom of a stairwell, I called it, but it was a stairway and it was all cracked and old. It felt like Greco-Roman type room. I can look back and tell you that I didn't know that then. So most of what I'm going to tell you, I understand today in my life, or throughout my journey, I understood. But as a child, I didn't know. I just remember it. And I remember thinking there was something in the center of that room. And it had pillars and an open ceiling that matched something that was in the center of that room. And I just knew I had to be there. And the minute I thought it, because I thought, how am I going to get up these stairs? Because I was jello-y. I wasn't used to my ethereal feeling. I thought I was still me. And I was, in my soul. But, and I flashed and I was on this edge of this well. I called it the well. I studied and got my doctorate under Dr. Raymond Moody, and because I wanted to work with children who have NDEs. And I said to him, how come I didn't see the tunnel? I was kind of pissed off about it, quite actually. Like, why did I not see the tunnel? And he said, did you ever think your well was the tunnel? Because when I looked down, it was infinite. And I went, what? Like, because this wasn't that long ago. It was like this aha moment of, what are you kidding me? Right now, this is crazy. What? It was a tunnel all this time. I didn't know that. So see how bits and pieces start to make sense. And I looked down and it was like what I would say now today, DNA, words spinning like this. And I could see the words interconnecting, like someone was saying, my mom has cancer. Please, God, don't let her die. And I'm going to turn 16, God. And I want a car and my dad won't give me one. And I'm hearing all of these different things. And it's like one consciousness. And I looked over at these lights that had pulled me out of my body, by the way. I didn't talk about that. And I said, where am I?
Movie.
Yeah, I said, where am I? And they said, you're in the room of heart's desires.
Wow.
And every time I say I want to cry because I know it to be so real.
What is that Pixar movie when he goes up? Have you seen that? Where, oh my God. Soul. It's called Soul. But basically, I think
I have seen it with my granddaughter, but I don't remember it. I'm sorry, I don't remember it.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Continue.
I only have so much space, and I'm always living in both worlds. So I'm always halfway in the spirit world, so I'm very not present. In fact, Megan is my memory. Wow.
I
have to say, Megan, what was that happened yesterday, or what, and she'll go, and I have a great memory, but I don't use it because I only have so much room.
So you're hearing God. You're hearing the connection to God and all the prayers. And you're just like, please, God, take care of my wife. Please, get rid of the cancer. It's like, I want a new bike. And
but it was one consciousness.
Wow.
So when I watched the movie God, in fact, when you say that, when I watched that movie God, I can't think of who starred in it. The comedian, the really funny comedian.
Burns?
No.
What's his name?
No, oh God, it was that funny comedian, Megan. Who was that?
Jim Carrey? Jim Carrey.
So when I watched that movie and he was typing, and they were doing, and I'm like, oh my God, he's in the room of heart's desires and he doesn't even know it. That's what went through my head. I saw people walking through and I asked them why they were walking so funny and they had to have help. And they said, well, I'm not used to my ethereal body. Kind of like, are you?
Oh my God.
But I didn't know what that meant.
Oh my God.
So I didn't know how to answer that, But, And then I remember things floating around me, and I asked, where I was, and they told me, and then I flashed on this yellow brick road with pyramids, and then it goes from there. It's a long story. I don't know if you want me to tell.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's pretty.
Do you see like people talk about in their near-death experiences. So the patterns that I have found that everyone usually has is like they have a life review, they have the beam of light, however, like they interpret that, they get, sort of beamed up. And then they meet their other, people on the other side. And then they see different parts of this castle and all these different aspects of God. And
yeah, I saw the castle.
The castle.
Yeah,
what did
I
it look
called
like?
it the cobblestone cottage is what I called it.
Interesting.
And it was iridescent in color. It had colors like a rainbow, but it was iridescent, and an angel walked out of it or floated out of it. And all I could think of, I didn't even think about the cottage. All I could think of was, I want to float. Can I float? And I was probably floating.
Oh my God.
Children have a different experience. As I've worked with children with NDEs, they have to be able to conceptualize what's happening, because if they're going to come back, they're not going to be full in.
Yeah.
So there was I would call it a crystal pyramid. I don't know what else to call it.
Wow.
Looking back on it. And I remember trying to reach my hand through it, and there were faces and bodies going through it. And I wanted to reach my hand into it because I wanted to know, I knew these people, but I wanted to know who they were, and I wanted to be where they were because they were floating.
Yeah.
And this to me was intriguing. I wanted to float. I couldn't get my hand through it. And I knew that if I did, I wasn't coming back. So that was the real other side.
I was just going to say that. I was like, I literally, my intuition was like, wait, is that the thing where you like, once you and then you're now on the other side?
Yes. So the people I saw, I hadn't lost anyone, right? So the people that I saw walking through, I'd never had a death in my life. So the people I saw walking through of not someone I knew.
This is so intense.
It's intense.
So intense.
This is even more intense. I had a brain tumor years later, and when I went into surgery, I had another experience. I don't talk about that.
But can we talk about that?
Or we can, a little bit.
Oh my God, was there more context?
I'll tell you what happened to me, though, when I woke up. It was pitch black, and I know it better than that. It wasn't pitch black when I was there, but I thought I was dead. And I yelled out in this room I was in, "Oh my God, am I dead?" And my girlfriend, I didn't know she was in the room because it was pitch black, and she goes, "Well, I certain effing hope not, because if you are, it means I am." And we just both started busting up laughing, and that was the break for me. It was like, okay, I'm not dead. But, and I had another experience also. So NDEers have a tendency to revisit.
Go back. Okay.
They do. And I actually had an experience where, and I never talk about this, but I actually, I felt God say to me, it's okay to let go because you're not leaving them any more than I'm leaving you.
Wow.
No more than I've left you. And I felt the arms of this beautiful entity around me. It was intense. Wow. Really intense.
I hear like ayahuasca journeys. So we release DMT when we sleep and when we die. And I feel like I've had a lot of, I'm a lucid dreamer, so I can control my dreams. I can get the dreams to tell me what the dreams mean and speak to people on the other side. And it's, it's also like, it's sort of, it's kind of like, it's sometimes it's therapy, sometimes it's talking to people on the other side. So I can never figure out like always, but there's like an ayahuasca aspect to it. Is that, because everyone has very similar, journeys. I mean, is that?
I think children have it similar. I think adults have it differently because they can conceptualize it differently. If they're going to come back, they need to conceptualialize it. They have to.
And how was the second time and the third time that you had these?
Different. And it was different.
Were you able to conceptualize it this time?
Yes.
How was it different?
I saw the same thing as I saw the yellow brick road. Wow. I called it the Yellow Brick Road because I'd seen The Wizard of Oz as a child. And so when I passed, I saw this road and I called it the Yellow Brick Road, and it was pavers. And there was pyramids, and people were pulling from the bottom of these pyramids and they were paving this path. And I remember thinking in my head, what are they doing? And then I watched them drop to their knees, and the path was bumpy and crooked and out of whack completely, and going, "For the love of God, please help me. Nothing's working out. Nothing's going my way. Everything's falling apart. Please help me." And I watched these beautiful beings come in. I call them angelic beings, come in, and they started removing the pavers. And I knew innately, even as a little girl, that the pyramid was their life balance journey. It was their life journey. And they were pulling from the bottom of it like Jenga, like there was no Jenga then, but that's how I see it now. And it was unbalancing their life journey. And they went and put the pavers back, these angels, and they went to the top of the pyramid and started removing the pavers and started paving the path. And I said, "What are you doing?" And they said, we are the pavers, you are not. All you have to do is walk it. And I said, how do you know if you're walking it right? Because that's the child for you, right? An adult might not even ask that question, but a child, I think they gave me the questions to ask. And they said, we bless and block everything, but make no mistake, you can get through a block, battered and bruised at best, or you can shift. And if you see another wall, shift again, and you see another shift again until you see us, you think you know what's best for you. And they went like this, we know what's best for you. What you try to control controls you, and what you run from chases you. Don't ever forget these words. I never forgot them, but I tried to control everything in my life. I didn't listen, but I never forgot the words. When I got older, I listened.
Do you want to, I can't, my higher self is like ancient. My higher self knows. And then like the whole thing about being on the path of God, like God would be like, do this. Like I was like, okay, robot me, tell me where to go, tell me. And then I was like, no, I want to do it my way. But that's
what you're supposed to, because that's how your soul expands and grows. So free will, you know,
God gives us free will.
I was in the room of knowledge. People call it the Akashic Records. I was in the room of knowledge, and I was watching people make their plans.
That's blowing my mind.
And this is so mind-blowing to me, because the little girl was doing this, and she was talking, and she was saying what she was going to do and not do. And somebody said to me on a podcast, do you think that was you? And I went, shit.
Oh,
there's another aha moment, right? And what? And And I was saying, and my soul's going to expand, and it's going to grow really quick, and I'm going to take all this on at once because I want to be done. I'm going to do this and that, you know, and I'm saying this whole thing, and I'm watching them say to this little girl and this family, that's way too much. You don't have to do all that at once. And they're trying to discourage it. And then finally they give up and they say, well, you do have free will. And they were gone. And I said, where did they go? And they said they went to the next incarnation. I have no idea what they were talking about. None. But later on in life, in my teens, someone said, Susan, do you believe, when I was talking about this experience, one of my friends said, do you believe in reincarnation? And I said, oh, there's that word.
Yeah,
I totally never heard it before that. And I knew what they meant. But so in the room of knowledge, you know, just moving quickly through this now, but in the room of knowledge, you know, they give you free will so that your soul can expand and grow. So it kind of looks like this. You might have a contract to be married. You'll be married. You might be 98, but you'll be married. Who you marry, how long you're married, the kind of marriage you have, the choice you make in your marriage is all free will for your soul to expand. Yeah. If you didn't have free will, you'd have no expansion. It would be a planned event. You wouldn't need to be here.
Yeah, I'm listening to God, though, because it's so much easier. God's like, you know, I've had to learn the hard way, and I always end up on the path. And it's so much, this is like a concept that I've figured out, is that listening to God is just so much easier, and being obedient, which is why they say, like in the Bible, it's like to be obedient and to, you know, and it's like to fear God. And I actually think the whole fear is just, you know, when
fear not listening.
What?
Fear not listening.
Yeah. Because it's like,
because intuition is given to you through the spirit world. It is there for you through the spirit world. It's an inside job. You feel it internally. Yeah. You feel anxiety. You feel the angst. You get the message. Mm-hmm, I mean, the simplest of things, I bought some tickets to see Wicked, and I thought that they were not good tickets because of the place that I bought it from. And so I heard in my head, it's going to be okay. The tickets are going to be good. But I didn't listen. I bought them again. So I spent double the money. Now I have 2 sets of tickets. I mean, that's what I'm, you know, not listening can be the simplest of things to the biggest of things. You know, like don't get in the car. I used to tell my kids, when you go around that corner, or don't get in the car, there's going to be an accident. And they go, Mom. And I go, you're at the concert, don't get in the car. And there would be a 10-car pileup. Or they'd go around a corner. I told my daughter, someone's going to throw their legs out in front of your car when you go around this corner. Please be careful when you're driving, and go very, very slow. And she goes, Mom, that's ridiculous. Well, there was a median where she went around the corner and somebody tried to throw themselves out in front of her with a car because she was going slow, and you know, they can make money.
Wow.
And she called me freaking out, you know,
Mom,
You're
right.
Oh my God, you know, how did you know? But those are the things that we don't listen to, that are being told to us on a moment by moment basis. Trust your instincts. And when we start trusting them and listening, life goes more smoothly. We still have experiences that we don't like because our soul has to grow and expand.
It's really funny. I think I'm a much definitely an older soul, but I think I wanted a lot of challenges in this life. Like I wanted part of it to be like, I want to have it like be easy and like pleasant and bougie or whatever, but I want it to be hard and I want to grow and I want to learn. But I literally had this conversation with myself where I was like, part of it, I want it to be grand and, expansive and extraordinary and amazing and blah, 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 blah. But in order for expansion, it can't be easy. It has to be really hard. And so I think I must have written this down of like, okay, I'm gonna find the creative ways to make it really like hard, but I want it to be like a really good life also. So
exactly.
So I'm like, because you can't, I guess you can't, it had to, so I think in terms of like, I'm going to have a fire and I'm going to have so many deaths and I'm going to like have so many terrible breakups. And
but
I could have avoided the breakups. I could have, because God was like, don't
you
do
have doors.
it.
Yeah, you have doors. It's kind of like we go through a door and we go, oh, this person is not a very good person. I'm noticing the flags, but I don't turn around and go to the next door. What I do is marry them.
Oh my God.
And,
I think for me, something that was really interesting because of my parents' traumas that merged, like they vibrationally, like they had some unhealed traumas, and I think
they fit perfectly.
They fit perfect. And so that they didn't want to look at. And then, me, I'm like, your offspring ends up being the shadow and the embodiment of like, what about this? What about this? What about this? So I think I was a very communicative, willful, big personality.
My daughter is also.
And so, and I think like whatever, I think my dad, had, I think all his trauma, he never wanted to have kids because of all the terrible things of witnessing, like his mother raped or whoever, like terrible things, and people murdered in front of him constantly. He's, in this form of, it was like a collective farm concentration camp, in Russia in World War II. And so when I was growing up, like I think like my mom really wanted to have a kid, and so he was like, okay, great. But then I think probably around that time, probably when he was like 7 is I think maybe when it happened, but I could feel this, this like distance, and how I interpreted that it was like, he was doing this of like, and what it was him not wanting to relive his memories, because when you have a kid, you have to relive your memories through somebody else's eyes. And so I think a lot of that wasn't dealt with. And so then, the message that I got growing up was like, well, you didn't want me, like, and then I think that responsibility fell on my mom's shoulders. And then she was probably a little bit resentful, even though they were together in a beautiful marriage. But I think that those small things, because he wasn't able to help it and be more of a hands-on dad, like he was a provider, and he just, I just think he just, he just couldn't be there, and he
did the best with what he had.
He did the best with what he had, and I think we, when he was dying, I, feel like we resolved a lot of it, and because I think I turned myself into a superhero. Like I was like, top tennis player to make him proud, kind of thing. To be like, do you notice me now? Because I would get attention of when I was being a superstar, of like Susie superstar is what he used to call me, and so this sort of realization that I had about a few months ago, which was, you have these your parents' patterns that inform your life, and until you wake up to awareness and consciousness, and you sort of go unconscious and you're in reaction to like whatever they didn't give you, or you're following the path that they've paved for you. So there's these two and there's still, it's on this, on this path. And so it's sort of like I kind of took a wrecking ball to my life to a certain degree, because I was like, well, this doesn't work. And, you know, I chose a complete antithesis, and that also doesn't work. But like only recently, it was sort of this idea of fate, that I was like, when you're unconscious and you're sort of going along with all these patterns that are laid before you, and until you recognize those patterns, and then you're like, you start to realize, oh my God, I can, you know, choose the divine, you know, and all these like wonderful things, and choose wonderful relationships. And so, you know, my best friend, Christy, has really healed so much of that, like her and her husband, and like they've been so healing to so much of my life, and all, and some of my other friendships as well. My friend Leah and Alona and Alexandra, they've, you know, healed so much of that. So it's really informed my life. So now I can, you know, choose your own adventure. And so, because before these unconscious patterns were informing my life, but I think this idea of fate, like you're sort of on this path where, you know, these unconscious patterns are just running your life, and it's sort of this fate thing until you wake up to more consciousness. You don't know what you don't know.
You can't know what you don't know.
Yeah. And so then until you're constantly, and so I think like, you know, me and my best friends were very much on that path of evolving and wanting to not just be successful, but like be successful in a way that is part of, you know, the divine in all the ways. Yeah, because I do think that we're here to experience the divine in, you know, our bodies, you know, because like once we're there, we're a part of the divine already, but we don't get to experience pain. And how can we manage, you know, suffering and pain and bliss and joy and all those things, you know, because there's such highs and lows. And I mean, I love talking about this stuff because I mean, I do think there's a part of me that knows, like my higher self can tap, like when I'm like smoking weed and astral projecting and being like, you know, why did this happen why did this happen in my life? Why did I choose? It's always going back to relationships for me, you know, because I think like
it does for most of us, because that's our common ground, isn't it? Most of us are in relationship either with animals, spirits, or human. Yeah. Which is also spirit.
Yeah. You know? And so, so I think when I'm having those conversations with God and astral projecting, and then I'll get to the point where I'll understand like none of this is real, like this is the Matrix, and this whole thing is a play.
We're the ghost to them.
Yeah.
If you look at it that way, it sums it up.
Yeah.
We're the ghost to the spirit world. We're a ghost to them. We're the ghost that visits and has all these problems and issues and scary and
none of
feels
it's
evil.
real. I know none of it's
we
real.
Feel evil to them because, you know, I mean, if you really look at it.
So wait, are demons not real then?
Let me say this.
You don't give it power.
I give it no power, so I have no idea. I've never seen one in all of my years. I have never seen one. What you fear, you feed. Yeah, you know, and I'm not willing to feed it to even know. And on it,
the wolves. We feed the love. The two vibrations in life are love and fear.
Right. Well, love is the highest. And so, you know, people ask me what the hierarchy is there, and I say love.
Yeah.
Love is the hierarchy. The higher you love, or the more you love, the higher you vibrate. The higher you vibrate, the closer you are to source. The closer you are to source is the whole goal, isn't it? And so love is the answer. It truly is. And it's not just a saying, you know, and acceptance of people. You know, my whole thing is about, we don't know where people come from. We don't know what they've been through. And even though we may not be able to be in their lives because maybe they're too toxic for us, we also have to have compassion and give a grace card and say, you know, I don't know where they gained this, and I just don't have to protect myself, but I don't have to hate them for it. Yeah. You know, my uncle was also murdered. So you and I have that in common. Yeah, he was shot. And you know, so I wanted to be hateful and angry towards his stepson who did this over money, quite honestly. And instead I went to, you know, he's so broken. He's so broken. And yes, he's paying a penance. Internally, he's paying it externally too, but internally he has to make the changes. And me being filled with hate over it I was very close to my uncle too, wonderful man. But me being angry at him makes me part of the journey of hate. That's what it does. It makes me part of it, part of his sickness. So I try really hard not to go there and to give a grace card and say, I don't forgive necessarily the action, but I forgive the sickness.
Yeah.
And if I do that, my life is better all around.
It's really interesting. I've heard Gandhi, when he was murdered, that you have to, so if you don't want to see them in the next iteration or the next contract, you're like, I forgive you. Like, as he was dying, he's like, I don't want to see you next. So I literally have done that with an ex that was very, 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 very toxic. But I was like, sort of being like, hey, I wish you well. Love you. We're good. We don't need to do this again. you know?
Yeah.
And even when my uncle was murdered, I immediately, forgave the man who did it, because I think he had a family. I think, he was just looking to, thinking, he took a brick to my uncle's head. And it was just kind of like a robbery gone wrong. He was just looking to, probably help his family, and, and I think his girlfriend was there with him. And I'm like, wow, you had no idea that you were going to destroy, two families. I mean, it hasn't destroyed me. I think
they don't think that through.
No. But I mean, here's the thing. It's also a choice, because I'm like, we're indestructible. We are source. We are parts of God. So I'm like, again, it's the choice of, also, this is just a realm, we're all going to be dancing in the other realm. I mean, look, the amount of NDEs that I've just been on this like algorithm, and how everyone has a similar story over and over and over, of like thousands of people of the same thing. That just, and I feel just with the, talking to God and things, that there's no way that I could know that my house would burn down before it did the night before. Like all these things that seem to happen, or walking somebody, into the light, and there's no way that I could know that like, did your grandmother just die? So like all these mystical, spiritual things lead me to believe that,
it's real,
that it's very much real. And
the reason that people have struggled talking about it is, I think that because there are so many people that think, well, how could they remember that if they were dead? Like, how do they come back with all that information? And I try to say to them, I ask people, I actually make it this simple. Did you see The Wizard of Oz as a child? They say yes. I go, do you remember the ruby slippers? Yes. Do you remember the Yellow Brick Road? Yes. Do you remember the witch riding the bike?
Yes,
she wasn't even a witch yet. I say, and they say yes. And I say, and you were a child, but it had that kind of impact on you. Imagine being in the other world.
Yeah.
In the other senses.
Yeah.
Your senses are so heightened that you're not going to forget anything. So people who forget, it confuses me, because it's so powerful. So when people say, that makes sense, that works, because you can't forget no more than we forget things that impact us here.
You know what my mom said when she passed was, I remember, and I get it.
Yeah.
And I think that that's like, when I meditate, I feel like I'm constantly in tune with, that higher power, and, I feel like I'm, I feel like there's a part of me that like knows none of this is real. Like it's real. We're supposed to, we're here to understand ourselves, but understand God, so it's like, as we're expanding consciousness, or it's, I guess, like the universe is continuing to just slowly expand. And as the universe is slowly continuing to expand, we also have to expand with it, is sort of the idea. So, I mean, I feel like, this iteration, and we're constantly evolving. I mean, just from 100 years ago, we're not Game of Thrones anymore,
Right, right.
So I think, like, in terms of, just being conscious of wanting to take care of the planet, and wanting to take care of, the animals that live in it, and the people, and we're having better relationships with each other, and healthier, and we're trying to ascend more and be more evolved.
We are ascending more.
And so I think, it just blows my mind. So it's like,
well, there's animals there, so we better take care of them here. All of that matters. Everything we do has a consequence, whether it be good or bad, seemingly bad, because it teaches us something. And in fact, I think the more difficult things that have happened in my life have taught me much more than the good
so
things.
much.
And so
also
our growth, expansion is all connected.
You know, the thing that also I learned, it's just easier if you just listen to God. You can just make your life so much easier, and also just doing the right thing.
But there are people who don't believe there's a God. They believe in a source. They believe in Buddha. They believe in, there are different, right.
It's all the same.
That's what
that's how I look at it.
And it's correct. And we're not getting that in this world yet. We're not quite there yet to understand that it's all the same.
Yeah.
It's all one.
Yeah, it is all
one source of guidance, one source of energy that maybe splits for us to understand where we need to be. So somebody who is, let's say, religious, they're right where they need to be.
Yeah.
They're right where their soul has evolved to. And when we can accept that and just be in understanding of that, we don't have to judge it.
Yeah.
Or not religious. Same thing, goes both ways. They're right where they need to be in their soul expansion. And when we get into those kinds of accepting comments or statements or belief systems, we stop judging everyone, which is one of the things we're meant to do here, is not judge everyone.
Yeah.
It's not up to us to decide where someone else is on their journey.
Honestly, and so, that same idea about you don't know what you don't know, like for myself, when I was in these relationships and I was like, well, and I'm like, well, and I had to forgive myself. And that was like really hard because God told me what was going, God was like, don't, this is bad, and every time, and I was like, it's just so willful of I know better. I want to be successful in this and that. And I, had this idea, and then God was like, oh, well, and so I had to find, forgiveness, but then in having forgiveness for myself, I was able to have so much more love for the other people in my life where I'm they fall short. How do you not know that this is not cool, and I've just had, some friend breakups or some relationships in my life where I'm thinking we're on the same page in our sisterhood, and then being but then realizing I'm having, that they can't see their actions and the consequences of those actions, or how
they lack accountability.
They lack accountability, or just they don't, they have these huge blind spots, and it's well, of course, and I miss those red flags.
But don't you ever wonder if you might have them too? Because I do.
All the time. Here's the thing.
If they don't know they have them, maybe I don't know I have them.
Literally, that is my biggest fear for myself.
Too.
Is I have my best friends in my life for a reason. I'm please point these out to me, because having, walking into a room with your fly down is just, or egg on your face or whatever, and you just don't know. I'm constantly. That's why I have very my friends who are very harsh.
You're a soul seeker.
I'm such totally. So I'm please hold this up to me, the harshest of, truths. I want to know, I need to know. I want to be great in my life.
And you'll be a mirror to someone else that they don't like reflected at them. So you have to remember that, because when you
usually that's how it is. And normally, but then those people aren't in my life anymore, or they can't, because then I'm just hey, but we're, especially Christy and I were constantly those mirrors. And so I never have to tell her that, but she has to, I'm kind of hard headed, and I take criticism pretty well. So she'll,
I don't like it.
No, she'll be like, Suze.
I mean, that's honest. I don't like it.
No, I mean, I don't like it either, but she'll, I'll
how it's presented matters.
Well, she's an Aries, so she's very she's just very, very direct and very harsh and very, and so she'll hold up the mirror, and I'm oh man, she's how do you not know this? How are you? I'm well, you don't know what you don't know. And it's so interesting because, for me, sort of how me and my friendship works is sort of she'll point it out, because I want it to be pointed out. I want, so I can, correct it. I can be better, and I can,
That's so big of you, because when somebody points out my flaws, I'm why are you judging me? Stop it. I have to be honest with you. I'm like, don't judge me because I judge myself enough.
Here's the thing. And I do too. But I do too.
I'm
but
so
it's
hard on myself.
But you know what? It's like, what are you going to, like, what's anyone going to say that I like haven't already said to myself, you know?
Yeah, but I don't want other people to notice the flaws that I notice about me.
I kind of have leaned in.
I mean, I'm just really real about it, you know? And it's like, I admire that in you because
it's one of my best qualities. It's one of like literally all my friends.
It's something to admire.
They can point out the qualities, and it has really helped my intimacy of like being, you know, just so open, and, you know, I'll just share everything.
Well, I do that too.
Okay, wait. So before we wrap this up, what else about my mom are you able to, any other messages? Because I miss her, and I miss Brent. And it was like Brent was there, you know, for my mother's funeral, and he was just, you know, my other friends had been there for me, but they, you know, they couldn't go to Boston, they couldn't be there, so he like drove from Philadelphia and was just,
he wouldn't have not come.
Yeah, he was so there, and I knew I could feel
he was there for so many people, and I think that the burden of that he couldn't share. Yeah, because he felt like that was his place to be, his persona, or what made him valuable or special. Yeah, and so he couldn't release that. So he had felt a lot of pressure to be available to everyone, and instead of just getting real about that with himself, not with others, because it probably would tell others that, but getting real with himself, he decided it was too much. Wow. And so, you know, there wasn't any one thing. I do want to say that he's not telling me there was any one thing. It was a combination of a lot of things. As far as your mother, she's just really happy on the other side. I can just feel her energy, just so in to win. Like she's always in it to win it. She was that way here. But, and she loves you so much and she wants you to keep expanding. That's what she's talking to me about is your expansion. She's proud of everything you've done, but you're going to be expanding much more because she's in your corner helping you now. So she feels really in control. I just want to tell you that. She loves it. She loves it. And she's so proud of you. And she said all those things that used to irritate the hell out of her, she loves about you. She loves about you.
What were the things that irritated her?
Like you were right to, you know, like, and you were really hard. Like she'd explain something to you and you'd come back with, but what about, you know, and wait, Mom, no, that's not the right way of thinking.
She's like, you're such a contrarian.
And she's telling me it's the things that she admires the most in you now. And she wants you to know that. So, you know, those are the messages your mom wants to give you.
That I was headstrong.
Yes, she loved it about you. She loves it about you now. I think then, you know, when she was on this planet, it was like, geez, I'm never going to be right because, you know, and she wants to be right. So that made it hard. But there, and I say that in jest, honestly, that, you know, the things that bugged her, you know, we all bug our kids. You know, that's part of being, you know, and our kids bug us. That's part of being love. It's part of love. But I do know that her depth of love for you is beyond measure, and her depth of love for her. She has another daughter. Accurate. I just feel that this love she has for her is also just so powerful, and she wants her to know that she's in her corner also. And does she have a grandchild?
Yeah.
Yeah. Too. Okay. I'm seeing that love. How old are they?
21 and 18.
A lot of guidance going on there. Somebody's in a little bit of confusion. I just want to say that she's trying to guide them out of it. I just need to say that. So she wants you to know she's in your corner helping.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
You're
Susan,
so welcome. This was so fun.
I've just been crying.
I could go on for 2 hours.
I could totally go on. Thank you guys. I can't wait to have you back. Like I want you back.
I'm there. Let me know when and I'll come.
Are you here tomorrow?
Yeah, I can come tomorrow.
Really?
We have so much to talk about.
Oh my God. Yeah, tomorrow. Maybe we need to do a part 2. Thank you guys so much. I can't wait to have you on again. This has just been amazing and such a pleasure.
Oh, and I see Wicked tomorrow. Maybe another, but another day next week I can come. I would love that.
Perfect.
It's been amazing talking to you too.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
A whole nother level.